Welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live. It is a special sit-down interview with one of Africa's arguably greatest leaders, former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, whose book, My Watch, has been released or is being released this week in Nairobi. It's already been published and released in Nigeria, although it's difficult to get a copy because he's been critical of the government there. No one, very few people would criticize their own, but you know what? This man calls it like he sees it. Believe me, I lived in Nigeria for 6 years and I called it a lot of times, and he saved me a lot of times. Right, Baba?
You gave me problem a lot of times.
But it was fun, though, eh? It was good fun, Baba. And look, okay.
I wanted to hand you over to my chief of staff at one time. If he had his way, he would have deported you.
Immediately.
Yes.
But you know what? Let's talk about Nigeria, because in your time, I remember it was so significant. Nigeria's debt had been cancelled. Remember, you paid up something like $22 billion or something, and then the rest was cancelled up, and you had no debt. Today, the debt is back up. Nigeria is back in the red, like hundreds of billions of dollars. What's going on? I mean, why so much corruption in such a short time? Are these people trying to dismantle what you started?
Well, my successor campaigned on the platform of continuity, and he acted on the basis of discontinuity. I mentioned a bit of it in my book. You see, I believe that part of our own problem in Nigeria is how do we evolve? How do we bring up national leaders who understand their own country, their own people, and who understand their own region, West Africa, who understand their own continent, Africa, and who understand the world in which they live in. I think maybe it's not only for Nigeria, maybe it's for most countries in Africa.
Are you disappointed that what you started has, like you said, is being dismantled, has been, kicked to the curb, if you will? Are you disappointed?
Well, disappointed maybe because I would have wanted Nigeria to move forward. But when an administration tries to move Nigeria 2 steps forward and another one comes and take Nigeria 1 step back, we are not making progress.
Yeah.
And the only way to make progress is what I call accumulative building on the existing edifice. When you come in and you take 2 coaches of the building out and you put 1 coach, now you haven't added to the building.
No.
If anything, you have subtracted from the building. It's not my personal things to say, oh, look, yes, I feel personally disappointed, but I feel for Nigeria because a country, you 2 times now you have said Nigeria, the largest population in Africa, in fact, the largest population of the black race in the world. And God doesn't make a mistake. God has a purpose for putting the largest concentration of black people in that space of land, which is about the 14th largest in area in Africa. Now, after rebasing, as they call it, we are told that we are the largest economy in Africa. Now, be that as it may, what are we getting? What are we doing to really give Africa the hope, the encouragement, the leadership that it must have?
Yeah. You talked about God loving your country, and you told me this before, so I'm bringing it back up again. Is God still a Nigerian?
Of course. If not, I told you last time, if not, what Nigeria has gone through since its independence, we wouldn't have been a country. We had in 1963 a census which we couldn't agree upon, and it became a bone of contention. In 1964, we had election in parts of the country which led to massive destruction of life and property. In 1966, we had a coup. In 1966, again, we had counter-coup, which nearly divided the country. Then that led to what was called pogrom, massless and I would say mindless killing of ourselves on basis of tribe and ethnicity. Then that led to a civil war, and we thought that the civil war would be a police action. It will be over in 3 months. But it took us 30 months. Nigeria nearly lost that war to the so-called Biafra. And then we thought all is well, and we were going on. Murtala, Obasanjo regime, Murtala was assassinated, but we managed stability, and we went on and handed over to a democratically elected government of Shehu Shagari, and we thought everything was on. Then military coup again, and then Abacha. And Abacha made it Basha. Really?
Yes.
Now, and then, let God save us from all that. Abacha made, look at this ridiculous one. Abacha created or allowed 5 political parties in a so-called democratic setting. 5 political parties, and all the 5 political parties pick him as the candidate. Yeah, you open your mouth. But that happened in Nigeria. So he perfected a way to make himself the only candidate that will contest the election, and if only his nuclear family had voted for him, his wife and children, he would have been president of Nigeria. Now, when all that was going on,
yes,
obviously God was nodding his head and shaking his head and saying, oh, how I wish these people know that I'm a Nigerian, and I will do the best for Nigeria. So without anybody raising a finger, I was in prison because Abacha had put me in prison. We woke up one morning and Abacha is dead. I'm not mocking him, but I'm just proving to you that God is a Nigerian. If anybody had done that for Nigeria, he would have held Nigerian to ransom that I did it. Now I have to do it this way, I have to play it this way. But God did it.
And you just told us a fascinating story, and a lot of Kenyans don't even know this story of Nigeria, which, by the way, is in your book.
Yeah.
And I was asking you before the break, why should Kenyans read this book? And this is the reason, the history of the last half century or so in Nigeria. I mean, it's important.
The history of the past 50 years, or maybe a little bit more, because I started being active in Nigerian life and international life from 1959, 1960. I was in Congo, Leopoldville, then as a member of the UN peacekeeping force. And then you ask the question, why should Kenyans read this book? I will say it's not only Kenyans. All Africans should read this book. All human beings who want to learn about situation in one country that is an important country in Africa, indeed in the world, should read this book. And in fact, of course, when you read history or biography or autobiography, you are learning a lot. What have been done to achieve success, what have been done and which led to failure. And I was even critical of myself in this book. I haven't spared anything. So the best way to learn, as we said earlier on, is to learn from other people's experience, other people's mistake, other people's successes. And then, of course, if you take it, Kenya and Nigeria, we have a lot in common, you know. You went through a traumatic experience in your election some, what?
2007.
2007, about 8 years ago. Okay. We are going through, we've gone through that sort of thing before, but we are going through another one. We hope and pray that God, being a Nigerian, He will see us through.
Can you sort this Boko Haram mess out? Not you personally, but you as Nigerians. Can you sort it out? Because it seems to be out of control.
Well, if Nigeria was able to sort out a civil war, and the same Nigerian soldiers, officers, military men, that were used to sort out the civil war, we didn't call for troops from any of our neighbors. We didn't call for international troops to come and help us. Although, as I said, the plan was that the war will take between 3 and 6 months. It took 30 months. But it was handled by Nigerians without borrowing money to prosecute that war. And we prosecuted that war genuinely, sincerely, and humanely. I ended the war, and I know how we handled it. So if we could do that, why can't we deal with the insurgents?
So what is it? Is it they lack the initiative, they lack the drive? What is it that's making the Nigerian military look so bad?
Well, it must be a cause of pain for some of the military men themselves, but surely for those of us, we have used and led the Nigerian army in operation in Nigeria and out of Nigeria. What has gone wrong? I was asking the same question, because you have to be an insider to know some of the things. One, for an army or a military group to fight with all their heart and soul and mind, and not counting the cost, they must be motivated. Their morale must be very high. They must be well trained. They must be well equipped. There must be, and if it's a special operation like fighting insurgency, they must be specially trained and also specially equipped to do that. I believe a few things have gone wrong. Recruitment into the military is gone wrong. It's now no standard. You send in your brother. Your brother is in there not because he wants to be a soldier. You push him there.
Correct.
There's no motivation in that.
None.
There's no. He didn't want to be a soldier. Then you send him into training. All the aspects of training that he should have before he's sent into battle. Because sending him against Boko Haram is sending him into battle of some sort. If that is not there, then of course you will have a problem of some sort. So recruitment, training, then equipping. he must be adequately equipped.
Yeah.
Watching television and a Nigerian soldier saying that he had to buy his own uniform. And of course, the soldiers are human beings. They are no fools. Although one of my compatriots said they are zombie, which means they are robot. They are not robot. They think, they see, they learn, they know. They know what is going on in terms of corruption among their own leaders and within the political establishment. Now, what do you want them to do?
If you were head of state, 200 and something girls got kidnapped in Chibok, what would you do? What would you...
Within, I will have had the report. It happened. It started because I invited one Philip Madu, the chairman of Christian Association of Nigeria in Chibok. Now that report will have come to me latest by 8 in the morning. I'm sure I will have got the report as it was happening, and within 10 hours I will be on top of them.
On top?
I'll be on top of them.
The girls will be back home?
I will be on top of them, because in fact the report that I heard from Philip Madu, those people came to Chibok for food, not for the girls. It's when the teachers ran our way and the girls started milling around that, it occurred to these boys, there are girls here, what do we do with them? So from that, about 11:30 to 12 midnight until about 5 a.m. they didn't know what to do with the girls. They were looking for what to carry the girls with, a trailer, and so because if they have come to pick the girls, that was a mission. They will have brought all adequate carrying vehicles.
And then 1 year later, Baba, 1 year later, almost, the girls are still missing. That's ridiculous. That makes no sense. But, it boils down, and you were mentioning it in your conversation earlier on, you were saying it's leadership, Baba. At the end of the day, it's leadership or lack of it. And I want to talk about that after the break. I want to talk about your highest moment as president and your lowest moment, because I know I was with you in Liberia when you promised Charles Taylor you were going to give him sanctuary in your country, and the Americans disappointed you. I know that, Baba. Let's talk about that after the break. What a conversation. What a man. What a general. He is no doubt an officer and a gentleman. Pick up his book, folks. Former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo's My Watch. It's available at Yaya Center Bookstop. Go see, chant. You will not be disappointed. This is history you should know about. Jeff Koinange Live takes yet another break. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag Obasanjo. JKL will be back in a moment.
Another 10 minutes.